Okay, so today is going to be an introductory lecture to the management of technology and innovation strategically. For that reason, we will take our time to look at some fundamental concepts or issues that are going to take a center stage in the course of the semester, including the concept of strategy, what strategic management also entails. Thereafter, we look at how you can integrate technology and business strategy, how you can also leverage technology as a source of competitive advantage. The Advent case study is available, which I'll share with you to read. So, strategic management. Is it the first time you are hearing strategic management? Or you've come across it in different facets? Is it the first time?
No, Doc, this not the first time.
So, in the context that you heard about strategic management, what meaning did you derive?
Okay, so I would say that I would explain the whole thing with the individual words.
Okay.
So when we talk of a strategy or something, we are maybe referring to a plan or something. Let me make reference to this. I was reading something in the Bible today where it talks about the wiles of the enemy. So I looked up for that word, and then I saw the synonym as strategy. And strategy, definition of strategy is simply a plan, either a long-term or a short-term plan. So when we talk of and we know management will simply be how do I put it? Maybe trying to control something. To manage something is to control the thing to for effective or for efficiency. To control something maybe for efficiency. So when we say strategic management, maybe it's a long or short-term plan to in order to control something to improve its efficiency or something like that.
Okay.
If I'm on track.
All right. That's a good try. But later on, I'll come to your explanation to interrogate certain choice of words you used over there. For instance, you indicated that management involves controlling something to achieve its efficiency.
Yes.
But so you are not actually a management or someone from the business school. So I appreciate that particular effort. But because we are all learning, let me quickly add that when we talk about management, so I'm dwelling on the explanation for management. When we talk about management, it actually goes beyond controlling. Controlling is just one of the functions or tools that are used whenever we are managing. So management is actually a broader activity which involves planning. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Doc. You can hear you.
You can hear. It's actually a broader activity involving planning, organizing, leading, and finally controlling. Planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Now, the planning component of management ensures that the goals that an organization is trying to achieve, there will be a blueprint available for them to follow through. So what have to be done at what time, when, by who. All those nitty-gritties will go into the planning function of management. Then once you've planned and you have a template or a blueprint to follow through to achieve the long-term objectives, there is the need to organize. So which brings us to the second aspect of management. So organizing also entails the degree to which the resources and capabilities that are required for an organization to flourish will be put in place. And by resources, we are looking at both human and other materials or non-human resources. With reference to human resources, interest is on individuals that have the right competencies and skill sets. So what has now become known as knowledge, skills, and abilities. You are trying to ensure that you don't have square pegs in round holes, but rather individuals that are well cut out for the job. So implicit in organizing as far as getting the right human resources will require that you do proper recruitment and selection. Thereafter, you will train them to attain the feats or capacity that the organization require for them to excel. And a number of things. So beyond the organizing where you are getting all the resources available, either human or non-human, it also ensures that these resources are used in an efficient and effective manner, such that you don't have a series of experiences of wastages and breakages or theft and pilferage of the materials. The skill set of the individual should also be matched with the task that's expected to be performed, so that you don't have individual with accounting background, perhaps working in the marketing department or working in the public relations department. When there is such mismatch, it can frustrate such individuals to deliver. So all those organizing activities become the second pillar of management. Then the third pillar is leading. Depending on the text that you are reading, some may characterize it as motivating. And irrespective of how you look at it, the philosophy behind that third function, either leading or motivating, is to bring out the best in people by setting good examples or models in the organization. And the reason why that leading function is important is such that organizations are admonished to strive to set up a system which is self-corrective, a system that does not thrive on threats or the presence of an authority before the right thing will be done. Rather, the system should be able to thrive whether a superior is available or not, whether an authority is available or not. So once leaders are able to set good examples for the rest of the organization to follow, that sort of system will become the right check and balance in place for all facets of the organization. Then the control that Gershon mentioned is the fourth function of management. And the essence of this control is to ensure that at any point in time, the standards or targets that have been set for the organization at the macro level and the specific employees at the micro level are met. So there is always a comparison between the actual performance of the organization or the individuals and the standards, key performance metrics that were also delineated from the outset. So that if there is a variation, particularly a favorable one, then it becomes necessary to sustain the sort of system or architecture that the company has in place. And the reverse is true, because if you are having an unfavorable outcome where the performance of the individuals at the micro level and the organization at the macro level is unfavorable, then there is the need to diagnose the reason why you are having such poor performance outcomes. And the lessons drawn from it will now become an avenue to correct the performance of the individuals and the organization in the next performance calendar. So all that I've explained is just management. It's just the management. Any questions so far?
No, please.
But is the explanation clear as far
Yes,
as
the explanation is
management
clear.
is concerned? All right. Now, the strategy or strategic, that one, Gershon was spot on because he likened it to pursuing a long-term or a short-term plan. But to be honest, whenever we talk about strategy, emphasis is on something which is in a long-term range. So it looks beyond short-term. It is only when we come to the operational elements that can cascade to attain the strategy, that is where we start looking at it from the short-term or the annual objectives, or if you like, the annual milestones of the organization. So whenever we talk about strategy or strategic, we are looking at achieving a particular intention in the foreseeable future. And this, the time horizon for this attainment is long. And so depending on the specific issue that the organization may be trying to champion, it may even be beyond 5 years, but anything beyond 2 years fall within the time horizon of a strategy. Please, is the clarification clear?
Yes, Doc. Perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Now, in the strict sense of it, when we talk about strategy, at least if you don't learn anything today, Krana, I am pleading that these two keywords, ends and means, or goal and means. Whenever we talk about a strategy, it has two main end products. And these end products are, one, the ends or long-term goals that a particular entity is trying to achieve. That is the first thing. The company should be seeking to achieve something in the long-term time horizon. Then the second ingredient of any strategy is the means with which it tries to achieve these long-term goals. So strategy, irrespective of how you look at it, entails two main things: the ends and means to attaining the ends. Please, is that clarification also?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yes.
But then, yes, hello. Oh, I thought there was a question. So what then is strategic management? A number of definitions have been submitted to explain what it entails whenever we talk about strategic management. And the one which I always share with my students is that of David and David. they contend that strategic management is both an art and a science of formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions that enable an organization to achieve its objectives. Now, this particular definition is very much pregnant with a number of nuanced meaning. So when we say strategic management is an art and science, what does it mean? Who can help us? When you say it's an art and science, who want to try?
Okay, I got some. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so we are trying to interrogate the first definition of strategic management. And I'm saying when we say it is both an art and a science, what comes into your mind? What does it mean?
So, I think the only thing that comes into my mind when it comes to science, science is something like systematic problem solving. So if we say it's probably a science, I think it's coming from the analytics side, and probably
Okay.
because it's systematic as well, you need processes to go through, and that's what comes in mind when I say science.
The science part. Okay. What about the arts?
So with the act, I'll say, because we are talking about, you are supposed to think ahead. It's a long-term goal. You have to be creative about it. Leadership comes in place. I mean, you have to be visionary to also know the other end, what it is going to bring about. So I think the art side would compromise something, would be entailing something like that.
Precisely so. So when we say strategic management is the art and science, it simply implies that it draws inspiration from how artists operate with higher level of subjectivity. And it also draws inspiration from the level of systematicity that underpin all scientific inquiries. So typical artists, when you present a particular image to them to draw, the way they will apply the shades and the strokes will differ as you move from one artist to the other. Meanwhile, they are all trying to project the same ideal thing, which is the image that is presented to them. So there is high level of subjectivity in it. But the scientific aspects borders on the systematic procedures and protocols that all organizations, irrespective of their line of duty, are expected to follow if they really want to achieve competitive advantage. All right. Now, it also involves formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions. So what that means is that in order to achieve a long-term objective, there is the need for a particular plan to be available, and that is where the formulation comes in. Once the plan is created and validated with all that matter in the organization, there is the need for room to be created for such a plan to be executed. This is where the implementation comes in. After the execution of the plan, it doesn't end. strategic management is also equally concerned about the outcome of such an evaluation to verify whether indeed the enviable targets or strides that were targeted are being achieved, or the business environment is rapidly evolving, so there is the need for some additions or subtractions to be entertained in the formulated plan. That is where the evaluation component comes in. So the evaluation aspects of the strategic management ensures that whatever decision or action that is being championed by an organization to, first of all, help them become more competitive in the eyes of their competitors and also achieve the enviable feat they want to achieve, will be something that is more formidable with the passage of time. Now, it also borders on cross-functional decisions in the sense that every organization has varied units and departments. So if we take MTN, right? If you take MTN as an entity, we can think of several units or departments. And to get a better appreciation of what we mean by cross-functional decisions, you can liken it to your organogram or organizational structure. You realize that you may have, as you move from the left to the right, you may be transitioning from the HR department to operations department to maybe accounting department, procurement department, manufacturing department, and what have you. Now, each of these departments have their core responsibility or objective to achieve. But the essence of strategic management is to ensure that the activities and initiatives of each of these units will mutually support each other. The activities and initiatives of all these different departments or units of the organization must mutually support each other so that the organization as an entity will win in the long run. We don't have a situation where the activities or initiatives of one department will be sabotaging that of another department. So technically, that is what we call integration. There should be a vertical integration and a horizontal integration within the various units and departments of the organization. When this is done, then we say we are doing strategic management. Please, is my explanation clear as far as the conceptual issues are concerned?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Please, as much as possible, if I'm talking about any issue and it is not, maybe I've taken it for granted that it is something simple that you are supposed to get, but because of your engineering background, you don't get it. Just draw my attention so that I can always clarify. Okay.
all right.
All right. What then is technology? It is a universal truism that technology in any organization provides the infrastructure or the tools for such organizations or businesses to operate more efficiently and in some respects effectively. Innovation, on the other hand, can also be characterized as how the organization is able to embrace new ideas in order to create value, right? From your perspective, what is technology? Because you people are in the telecommunication industry and you
Okay.
are always dealing with technology and innovation. So what are they?
Yes, Doc. I'll go with the basic one we all know from maybe SHS, where we say is the application of knowledge for practical use.
Okay. The application of
And
knowledge for practical
for practical or
use.
for use. Yes. So, yeah.
All right.
Prof,
Yeah,
Any other?
Prof.
sorry, Doc. I would say is the implementation or deployment of equipment to enhance the efficiency of man.
The implementation or deployment of equipments to enhance the efficiency of man. All right. Yes. Was that easy?
No, Bevlin.
No, but another, I heard that, oh, that was Shamira. Someone else was also trying to contribute.
Prof.
Was that Augustine? I thought it was Augustine.
Yeah, Prof.
Oh,
It was
okay, there, okay.
Augustine. Like I want to say that is the application of a scientific knowledge, tools, and techniques.
The application of scientific knowledge, tools, and techniques. Okay. What about innovation?
Okay, Doc.
Yeah, hello, go on.
Basically, when we talk of innovation, we are talking about, let's say, improvements to something. So to be innovative simply means to be creative, always coming up with something new.
Okay.
So yes, innovation in technology, maybe we would say we are always looking at coming out with new technologies to improve how business is done or something.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Good. And why is it important for technology and innovation to be strategically managed? We know technology is an essential tool that can enhance efficiency and effectiveness of organizations. And the innovation embracement will also ensure that they always they are always aligned with the changing needs in the given industry. Why is it important for technology and innovation to be strategically managed? Why don't we just leave them to chance, but they have to be strategically managed?
I know.
Yeah, it's a go on.
Okay, so I think, please, can you hear me?
Yeah, you are loud and clear.
So I think it matters, or let me say the telecom space it's like the change is constant, it's going to happen. So let me take an example. For instance, back then we were using phones for making calls. So let's say we were on the GSM side. We were just making calls, voice, whatever. And then now it is rapidly changing to like its data aspects, right? So if let's say you are in a telecom company, right? And you say that, oh, I'm still just going to do voice. Data doesn't matter. You are going to be left behind. Yeah. So if what do you call how do I say, industries are evolving rapidly, right? With emerging like technologies and all that. So if you fail to innovate, you risk the chance of leaving the industry or like not aligning with your goals and all that would set you far back. So as
now, let's say the telecom industry is moving from, let's say, the digital service to other services like IoT and all that. And let's say you are still behind doing what it used to be. Example like Nokia. Back then, Nokia was the ish, but now Nokia wasn't able to like come up with innovative ways to like, let's say how iPhone or Samsung, they're all coming up with innovation. So if it's not strategically managed, you are going to be left behind.
Precisely. And I like the Nokia example that you cited. It actually hits the nail right on the head. So if you are having a particular technology or innovation and you don't forge ahead to see where the industry is veering towards, but you become content and complacent with the current success that you are enjoying, then you are likely to suffer the fate of Nokia. So by strategically managing your technology and innovation, you are able to discern where the industry is currently veering towards, so that you can accommodate new ideas and better ways of operating that will help you stand the test of time. Those days, when Nokia was like the ish, it was around the same time that the Android platform was also emerging. But those of you that are actually familiar with the Scandinavian culture, Nokia is actually a Scandinavian product. And so for them, they are the conservative type. That is how their culture is like. So if you look at even their buildings, the way it was like 200 years ago, that is the same architecture they are using. They are glued very much to their culture. And so when you go to a place like Norway now, they still deliver newspapers as if we are in the 1800s. And that is the idea which they could not, the idea that also did not let them see the need for them to embrace other emerging technologies at that time, such as the Android platform, so that it will be embedded onto their telephoning devices. And by the time they realized, Apple was far gone, Samsung was now experimenting it into other electronic devices. It got to even a point where they are, in fact, right now, their fridge and everything is having some of these technology in it. So once you are able to manage your technology and innovation appropriately, you are able to understand the current needs of the market, where it is changing to or migrating to, so that you can innovate and come out with interesting ideas that will thrive and stand the test of time before you suffer the fate of Nokia. All right. Now, managing technology and innovation. Interestingly, almost all of you are either in a managerial position or you are aspiring to occupy a managerial position. So the expectation from you as far as the management of technology and innovation is twofold. The first one is that you are being equipped to understand and also be responsible for harnessing the right resources for organization, ranging from financial, human resources, organizational resources, and particularly because you're in the telecommunication industry, the right technology. Now, the technological resource is very much important in the sense that it is the pivot that is going to drive your likelihood of achieving competitive advantage. And so if you are able to harness the right resources, particularly technology, and integrate it with the strategy that the firm is championing, then definitely it can assist your company as managers to achieve not only competitive advantage, but sustainable competitive advantage. Then the second thing that's management of technology and innovation is admonishing you to acquire is that you should be able to create the right environment or capacity for innovation to thrive. And what this means is that innovation does not occur in a vacuum. It requires the right organizational structure. It also requires the right processes, organizational culture that will encourage new ideas to be entertained. A typical example would be a situation where you are working in an environment that thrives on a conservative type of environment. So if you are dealing with a conservative culture, it implies that such a culture will not be open to new ideas. So you might be having some interesting and wild ideas that can actually help improve the fortunes of your company. But because of that culture, there will be no room for such ideas to be entertained. So managers of technology and innovation are expected to create the right environment, particularly the culture and the structures, so that the innovative capacities and abilities of individuals can be leveraged or improved. If you set the right tone in place, then that one will also nurture the innovative capacity of your workforce. All right. So in our lecture 5, we will come back to how you can actually create the right structure and environment to nurture innovative capacity. All right, so these are still some definitional issues, which I think we've already tackled the most salient ones. Now, the types of innovation. The types of innovation. There are several typologies of innovation. Several types of innovation, but for the purpose of our discourse, we are going to center on 3 main types. 3 main types of innovation. These include incremental innovation, radical innovation, and architectural innovation. So what does it mean when we say a particular type of innovation is incremental? Now, incremental innovation is the type of innovation which keeps on improving with the passage of time. So from the outset, the sort of idea or the creativity that will be experimented with will be totally different from what you will encounter when you come across it in about 6 months' time. And a typical example is the current witnesses we are having in the microprocessor industry, So today you hear that they have fifth generation of a particular processor, then the seventh generation will come, the 10th generation, and so on and so forth. Anytime there is a refinement of a particular innovation such that the new one becomes a much improved or better version of the earlier version, then we are dealing with incremental innovations. And the reason why incremental innovation is important in the telecommunication industry is simply because innovation in itself and ideas are not static. Ideas that eventually churn out to become innovative are earmarked to address a particular problem. So depending on the issues and the resources and as well as capabilities that are experimented with at the laboratory at a particular point in time, we get a fair version of the innovation. But with the passage of time, there is an improvement upon it. So that is the incremental one. Then there is also the radical innovation. The radical innovation. So unlike the incremental one where the latter versions of the idea can be compared with the earlier versions, the radical innovation can be likened to a situation where there is an outright revolution or transitioning from how the current idea maintains, if you compare it with the entirely new product or service that will also be churned out. So in the telecommunication industry, the earlier versions were involved the use of cables or wires to make calls or to embark on any form of communication. And we have now transitioned into wireless ones, right? So that would be a radical innovation in the sense that the contrast between the use of wires and now the absence of the wire is very, very wide. So whenever we are juxtaposing some of these ideas, then we are dealing with a radical innovation. Then the third type of innovation is architectural innovation, which denotes the degree to which the product or service coming out of the innovative process undergoes a total overhaul or reconfiguration. And a typical example is the key radio components that we are having now compared to how it used to look like. You can also liken it to the earlier versions of computer that we had. You remember the earlier versions that came around? They were very, very big. But right now, our mobile phones that we are using are much more sharper and effective than those earlier versions of computer that we are having. And the same juxtaposition can be made between the earlier versions of computer and the laptops or desktops that we are having now. So whenever there is a total overhaul of the components that come together to produce a particular product or an idea, then that sort of innovation falls within the continuum of architectural innovation. And the essence of such architectural overhaul is to bring much refinement and improvement upon the earlier ones, so that if today it is much easier to move around with your computer. compared to the earlier versions. The earlier versions, before you boot it and even run one command, it may take several weeks. But the current ones we are using, in fact, these days you are even able to code on your mobile phone or any mobile device that you have. So that also borders on the architectural innovation. Now, the integration of technology and business strategy. Let me pause here. If you have any question, you can go ahead. Are there any questions?
No, sir.
All right. The integration of technology and business strategy. Okay. So when we talk about business strategy, it can be explained as the plan which informs how a particular organization will compete in a given industry. The plan that discerns how a particular organization will compete in a given industry. Now, my question to you is that why is it important for the technology that is being adopted in an organization to be aligned or integrated with how they are going to compete or operate in a particular industry? Why is it important? Did you get my question?
No, Doc, can you please come again with the question?
So I'm saying that, but did you get the explanation for what business strategy means?
Yes.
So my question is, why is it important for the technology that an organization is championing to be integrated with how they operate in the business industry? Why should technology be integrated with business strategy? Is the question clear now?
Yes, Doc. I'm trying to think about why should technology be integrated into the business strategy? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Doc, I'll say to increase efficiency.
To increase efficiency. Okay, so the essence of adopting and implementing any technology is to ensure that the way organization operate is more efficient, so that you are able to get the best out of the company. Now, if this is integrated with your business strategy, the implication is that your way and style of competing in the business environment will be dwelling on cutting edge technology, which can help you to surpass your rivals. So the main reason why it is important to integrate technology and business strategy is to achieve competitive advantage. So many firms in general tend to treat technology as a mere support activity, which means that they use technology in a reactive manner. But strategic management is admonishing that all competitive companies need to integrate technology directly into their corporate and business strategies, since that will ensure that the technology choices that are being adopted by the company are not random, but deliberately picked. So once you deliberately pick them, you will know which one can help you increase your profit margin, which one can help you serve customers more efficiently, which ones can help you to achieve all your innovative objectives, and what have you. For that reason, technology is perceived as not an isolated function, but it must be aligned with your business and corporate goals. Now, and to integrate it, there is the need for you to get a clear roadmap that will link the technology with your business priorities. And that is where you have to demarcate how you are going to compete or operate in the business environment. And based on that, you can link specific technologies or tools to such operations. Then there should also be cross-functional collaboration between research and development, the IT units, and other business units of the organization. That is important because the research and development components of the company will be constantly reviewing the best practices in terms of technology and churning out such knowledge and information to the general workforce in the organization to update their knowledge. And once this is done, it will always put the workforce at par with the current technologies that are driving change in their community of practice. Then it will also empower the IT and other business units to function in that regard. So the research and development areas of organizations that are championing an innovative strategy is not how do I put it? That particular unit is not, it is held in high esteem. So when it comes to budgetary allocations, they are highly sought, they are highly thought about and catered for. When it comes to the logistics that they also require to flourish, they are always provided state-of-the-art equipment to deliver. So companies such as Tesla, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and what have you, when you look at their budgetary allocations and allocation of logistics to their research and development units, you will understand why they are always leading the emerging trends in the world of IT. There is also the need for continuous monitoring and evaluation of technological trends, such that the ones that are becoming obsolete will be jettisoned out of the way, whilst the ones that are now savvy or trending will be incorporated into the integration exercise. Now, perspectives to strategy. Perspectives to strategy. There are several perspectives to strategy as far as the strategic management of technology and innovation is concerned. And this includes the positive view and the normative view of strategy. The positive view and the normative view. The positive view of strategy contains that the strategic management of technology and innovation should be concerned about the actual strategy of the company and how it came to be. So we are essentially saying that when you talk about the positive view of strategy in terms of managing technology and innovation, our interest should be on how the company is actually setting up the strategy and how the strategy came into existence, which means that hitherto the acceptance of the actual strategy, series of deliberations, brainstorming, favorable and unfavorable experiences might have transpired, which might have culminated to or given birth to the present strategy that is being championed by the organization. So that is the positive view of strategy, which contains and try to paint the historical milestones that have now given birth to the strategy that an organization is currently championing. Then there is also the normative view of strategy. And the normative picture of strategy is more an idealistic view of it, which tends to paint the picture of how the strategy is supposed to be like, or what the strategy should be. So in other words, you can liken it to the characterization of strategy from ideal sense, whilst the positive view strives to paint the reality of the strategy. Please, is the clarification clear? The positive and the normative view.
Yes, Doc.
So unlike the positive view, that seeks to create a realistic picture of a given strategy and why that particular strategy is available in the first place. The normative one seeks to create a mental picture or a glimpse of how the strategy is supposed to be like. Now, my question to you is that of the two, which one should be entertained in the telecommunication industry or in the management of technology and innovation? Is it the positive view or the normative view, and why?
Okay, so yeah, Doc.
Yeah, hello, go on.
Yeah, so from the explanation, I would go for the normative view because in the world of technology, we always want to give room for innovation, room for exploring other ways of making life easier.
Okay.
And I think the normative view gives the idea of how an excellent organization should be. And so once we are all thinking how excellent organization can be, then we are progressing. There are new innovations that are coming on board. But in the case of positive view, it's a case of, okay, this is the reality we have on the ground. So it means that the growth in terms of innovation will be a bit slower as compared to the normative, because they would have to sit, strategize. Are we ready to improve? Are we ready to move from this stage to the next stage? All those things will take time in the bureaucratic process. But in the normative, we are all looking towards excellent organization. So our minds are always progressive and thinking outside the box. Thank you.
Okay. Any other submission?
Okay, Doc.
Yeah,
I would also say, yes, with the case of what he said with Nokia, which you said is more of a conservative organization. I would say they choose to go with the positive view instead of looking at the big picture. What the firm's strategy should rather be. chose to stick with the norm, what they had. So I would also go for the normative view. I think that would be the best strategy in a case like this.
All right. Any other? Okay. In fact, the two submissions that you've made excellent, and it aligns with the gravitation that earlier scholars and institutions experienced when they were all subscribing to the normative view of strategy. In fact, so based on the normative view of strategy, it gave birth to different ideas or ways that a given industry can be analyzed for an organization so that they can know how best they can compete over there. And so that gave birth to what we call Porter's 5 forces and Porter's generic strategies. Whenever you are relying on those tools, such as the Porter's 5 forces and the Porter's generic strategies, as a way of understanding your industry position and how you can also compete in the given community of practice, such as the telecommunication industry, you are essentially thinking about the bigger picture and where the industry is heading towards. And you are not only fixated about how you can survive now, but you are looking beyond. So for that reason, so many authorities and institutions became attracted to the normative views of strategy. And till date, if you juxtapose the two, the normative view always have a lot of subscription because of the room that it provides for individuals to experiment and always stay afloat of their competition. There is also what we call the product market view and the resource-based view of strategy. The product market view and the resource-based view of strategy. When we talk about the product market view of strategy, it is concerned with how firms compete with others as far as their products and services are concerned. So, how does MTN compete with Telecel and AT in terms of capturing the subscriber base of telecommunication users? How do they, in terms of their products, how do they innovate and create products and services that will be more appealing to their customers to help them retain their customers more than Airtel as well as Telecel? If we are doing this analysis or interrogation, then we are dealing with product market view strategy. So to what extent can a particular organization compete with its rivals in a given industry where they have similar products or services? How best can you compete? Now, the product market view strategy emphasizes more on industry characteristics. In other words, it is more outward looking. So it takes into consideration issues such as the available technology that is there, issues about cost of raw materials. Have you heard about the pestle model before?
Yes, Doc.
So issues about the political climate of a particular country will influence it. The economic health of the country will also have an influence. And within the economic health, we are dealing with issues such as inflation, deflation, interest rates, cost of raw materials, the lending rate of the banks, and all that. It looks more outward as far as the product market view strategy is concerned. And a sharp contrast to it is the resource-based view strategy, which is also concerned more about how the firm can secure the necessary factors you need to create more competence and capabilities to achieve competitive advantage. The resource-based view also subscribes to the notion that, in fact, factors outside the factors outside an organization, such as the politics out there, the economics out there, the technology out there, all have a role to play when it comes to how well a firm can compete. But they are also interested in how best the company can harness resources from within. And by resources, they are looking at the technology, the distinctive capabilities of individuals, and the competencies that are within the company. So to what extent can we say the talented workforce in MTN is far above that of Airtel-Tigo? Anytime we start making some of these considerations, then we are dealing with the resource-based view strategy. So the basic tenets of the resource-based view is that of the two factors, that is factors outside an organization and the ones within, companies have much control over the ones that are within. Companies have a lot of control over the ones that are within. And if you think about it this way, when it comes to interest rates, it is not determined by MTN or Airtel-Tigo. When it comes to the lending rates of the banks, it is not determined by each of these firms that I have mentioned. But when it comes to the decision to recruit, MTN can decide to say that as for us, we are recruiting from only Ivy League universities, or we are recruiting from only public universities in Ghana. They can also decide to say that we are going to pay them X amount of money to incentivize them so that they can bring out the best. So those are the dynamics as far as the products market view of strategy and the resource-based view is concerned. Any question on them?
So far, so good. Good.
All right. Hey, how many minutes are we supposed to meet? Sorry, how many hours?
I think it's Beverly, is it 2 hours, I think?
Yeah, I think it's also 2 hours.
Wow.
We've done more than that.
And that means make us a baby. I won't country me. All right. Now, this one is enough. Let's look at another interesting thing before we wrap up. So, technology as a source of competitive advantage. When we say you are using technology as a source of competitive advantage, it means that the firm or company is leveraging technology in order to have an edge over rivals. And under what circumstance can technology be leveraged in this regard? Technology can be leveraged to achieve competitive advantage when it is able to assist an organization to produce goods and services that are relatively affordable to the general targeted customers. Under such circumstances, we are referring to a situation where we say technology is enabling cost leadership. The implication is that the cost of raw material, the cost of the manufacturing process will embrace a particular technology that can help scale down the unit price of the products or services. When technology is deployed in that regard, then we say it is enabling cost leadership. And cost leadership means that you can produce on a large scale or a mass, on a large scale for a larger market. And if you are targeting larger markets, the goods will be, the sale of the goods will be much faster. So you are able to get faster sale of your goods. The unit profit that you are going to get will be that is what they call the multiplier effect of the minor profits you'll be getting from this large sales you are going to embark on can also be aggregated into a fortune. So that is the cost leadership component. Technology can also be leveraged such that the quality and the uniqueness of the final product or service is different from what the rivals are currently churning out in the market. And if you are targeting customers that are willing and able to pay the premium price, then definitely they will not have any challenge when it comes to paying higher price for such quality and unique products or service. So a typical example can be that of an iPhone and a Tecno phone, or an iPhone and that particular phone. Almost every year you have to buy another one. Infinix, yes, Infinix. You look at the two, it's wide different in terms of the quality. Those of you that have used Infinix before will attest to the fact that after a year, you will start experiencing challenges with memory full or memory user, even though you may be having an external SD inserted into the phone. But if you are working with any iPhone products, or let's say Samsung, Krana, those challenges will not be available. So that is where the quality of the products comes to bear. Technology may also assist you or enable new business models to be developed altogether. And that can be likened to the e-business and e-commerce services that we are currently having. Uber, Shagzy, Ghana Hakra, the commonest ones are what? Apart from Uber, Yango, and all those products that we are having. It is because of technology that has been integrated with mapping, global positioning system. That is why we are able to have all these new business models. And technology may also end up creating barriers to entry. So next time we are dealing with Porter's 5 forces, I will throw more light on these barriers to entry. And the barriers to entry may mean that you are protecting the industry position of the firms, such that it will be very much difficult to new entrants to come in and get a fair share of the market pie. So if you're able to use technology through patents and trademarks to register your portfolio, then definitely it will be very much difficult for others to also replicate the same services that you are providing. And in that way, you are able to protect industry profitability. Now, one last thing, then we end there. Still on technology and competitive strategy to achieve competitive advantage. There are, Michael Porter has suggested 4, in fact, it is 3 generic strategies, but if you do the permutations and combinations, you get 4. So the 3 generic strategies, according to Michael Porter, include differentiation strategy, the focus strategy, and the cost leadership strategy. But you can have a situation where the sort of differentiation that is being practiced by the organization tends to target the entire industry. If that is the case, then we have an industry-wide differentiation. There can also be a situation where the differentiation strategy is practiced such that it targets a particular niche or section of the industry. If that is what is being witnessed, then we are dealing with a focused differentiation. What is differentiation strategy? Differentiation strategy is a type of strategy. It's actually a generic strategy that companies can use to compete in a given industry by ensuring that the products and services that is being churned out is of a higher quality or standard. It's of a higher quality or standard. Now, if these products and services are driven towards a larger industry, then we are looking at industry-wide differentiation. But if it is targeting a particular niche of the industry, maybe those that have deeper pockets or those that will not complain, irrespective of how the final unit products or services are priced, then we are dealing with a focused differentiation. But irrespective of how you look at it, the differentiation strategy ensures that at any point in time, the technology that is churned out is able to generate products or services that are unique and of higher quality standard. Then the cost leadership is what I explained earlier on, which refers to the Porter's generic strategy that seeks to ensure that technology is deployed to produce goods and services that are relatively cheap and affordable to all and sundry. So once you have, you're able to have the purchasing power and you are interested in patronizing in that particular product, the technology is supposed to deploy it to you. So a typical example could be products like technophones. In fact, all mobile phones are now having shades of cost leadership in it, in the sense that depending on the geographical area that they are sending it to, they are able to use materials and cheap labor so that at least they are able to break even when they are selling it at a relatively cheaper price. And that is how come the price of iPhone in Ghana may be totally different from how much it is being sold in the US or UK. So if you analyze it from that regard, then you can say even some downgraded quality of iPhone products that are circulating in Ghana can fall within the cost leadership scheme or strategy. But in the straight sense of it, cost leadership is expected to churn out relatively affordable products and services to targeted customers in a given industry. But this same cost leadership can also have another derivative wherein it focuses on a particular niche or section of the industry. And normally, that niche may have an interest of patronizing in a given product, but their tastes and preferences may differ a little bit from what maintains in the general populace. So under such circumstance, the technology is required to be deployed further to produce goods and services that can actually meet the needs of that targeted niche, which implies that Huawei phone company may decide to have a particular product for the African region, and they may have another standard for the European region, another standard for the Middle East, and what have you. The moment they start operating in that regard, then they are dealing with focused cost leadership, which means that as you move from one region or geographical area to the other, the standard or the quality of the product will be differing simply because the technology that was employed in producing such variations have different cost components attached to it. All right. So the most important things for us to cover today, we've already dealt with it. The rest of them are quite straightforward. So please, when you go, then you look at them, okay?
Okay, Doc.
Doc, please, would you share the slides with us?
Yes, right away. Was that Beverly?
Yes.
I will share it with you immediately I end the class so that you can push it to your colleagues.
Okay.
All right. So let's pause here and continue, God willing, tomorrow.
Doc, about tomorrow, please, how will we have it online or in person?
Tomorrow, what do you suggest? As a
Online.
class?
Online.
Okay, so this week, let's focus on online. Then from next week onwards, we will gradually navigate to the face-to-face. Why? I am informed that one of us is outside Accra.
Yes, Norbert.
Norbert. It's Norbert.
Yeah, Doc.
So Norbert, how do you manage? Especially for the in-person one.
That's why I'm leading the online course.
It is well.
A lot of challenges, coming and then going back because you have to be at work the next day. So,
and you also work in Koforidua?
Yes, I work in Koforidua.
Wow.
Yes.
So if it is going to be an online thing, a face-to-face thing, around what time do you set off?
So I set off sometimes after work or 4 o'clock. Then I join somewhere.
Some few minutes late.
Yeah, a few minutes late.
Wow.
Then when we are done, I have to come back because the next day I have to be at work.
I see.
Yeah.